Good morning, everyone. My name is Brooke. It's nice to see you all. And this is Durga. She'll be giving a talk in just a few minutes. And I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Father's Day. Even if you aren't a father, we still have that divine father, that power, that masculine energy within us. So I hope that you have a really fabulous and beautiful, beautiful day. This week is week 25, and the topic is Eternal Now. This is from the book Rays of the One Light. It's a commentary on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita. And this book was written to help us to understand and see the unity of all true religions, of all true paths, to help us to know that whatever religion or spiritual practice we focus on will take us to God if we put all of our energy and all of our effort into it. And so in writing this book, Swami Kriyananda took two of the best-known scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita and the Bible, to show and represent all those true religions. Okay, again, the topic is the eternal now. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. When will I find God? Many devotees have asked this question. Because worldly goals require time, usually for their fulfillment. We imagine time to be a factor on the spiritual path, and so it is, but only because we think it is. God is as much with us now as He will ever be. It is not He who needs to come to us. We need to come to Him. And that process of coming is a matter of transforming our self-perceptions. In the Gospel of St. John, chapter 4, Jesus Christ says, "Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest." There is a practical teaching in these words, apart from their statement that we have God already and have only to realize that truth. Jesus is saying, lift up your eyes and look. To hold the eyes uplifted is the best position for meditation, for the seat of superconsciousness lies at a point midway between the eyebrows, in the frontal lobe of the brain, just behind that point. This point is known also as the Christ Center. By lifting up your eyes and concentrating there, you will find it easier to enter the state of ecstasy. That is why saints in every religion have often been observed during states of deep inner communion, with their eyes uplifted, focused on the inner light. White, as Jesus said, already to harvest. The Bhagavad Gita goes farther into this meditative teaching. In the 6th chapter it states, holding the spine firm, the neck and head erect and motionless, let the yogi focus his eyes at the starting place of the nose, the point between the eyebrows. Let not his gaze roam elsewhere. In meditation, tell yourself, I have Him already. I am alive forever in the divine light. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om.
Good. Nice to have you back, Narayan. Narayan's been on the East Coast for a couple of weeks. We've missed him a lot. He's back. Okay, so this is quite a reading today and quite a topic, the eternal now. And what Jesus is saying is you don't have to think that something is in the future and then it will be mine. You can know that it can be yours already right now. It is yours. The other day, the singers and I went to an elderly convalescent home with Joy. Where's Joy? I know you were there. And she has a friend who's there. And we went to sing. It was a glorious experience. And And she went, her friend has been quite ill for some time and probably didn't quite like being there very much. But then Joy was telling us later that she's been praying for her and sending light and visualizing Om. And so she's been doing this for a couple weeks, I guess. And so she went into her room. This is how I understand the story, but it works for me, so I'll just tell it this way. She went into the room and she said to this lady, "You'll be just fine." And she said, "I am fine." And what a glorious affirmation and what a glorious truth that is. And it is the essence of what we're talking about today. We are fine. Don't think you aren't. Don't think of the things that are going wrong. You are fine. And how can that be? We can all look at our lives and we can see things that we wish were different. And in fact, what I'd like you to do now is close your eyes, and I want you to think of something in your life that isn't going exactly the way you would like it to be. Either you are physically ill, you are, at a job with people you don't like, or one person perhaps that you don't like. You are in a situation of life that you are uncomfortable with. Whatever it is, I want you to think about that and see what it feels like. And then I want you to imagine that you have a vision, either in meditation or a thought, but a thought that's so powerful that you know it's true. God himself is standing in front of you and he is saying to you, "I'm very, very sorry about this situation, but I have to tell you that it will be with you for the rest of this lifetime." Now, how do you feel? It's pretty hard. It's pretty tough. But then you realize that the only way to get through this life without being in despair, without living in the future, without hoping things are different than they are, is to do something about it. And you can open your eyes now. So this thing that we have could be very large, could be small, it could be whatever it is. But what I really want you to know is that we can do something about it. And what we can do about it is that we can remember that we live in the eternal now. And in that now, we are perfect. God is perfect. God is with us. We are God. We are that reality. And in that reality, in that consciousness, how can it be anything but perfect? So part of this is accepting what is. And Sister Gyanamata, Yogananda's foremost woman disciple, as we've often said, we have to keep reminding ourselves, change no circumstance in my life, change me. And why is that so powerful? It's powerful because it lays the burden on us. And it also is giving us the power and the knowledge on a deep level that we can do something about it. That we have to do something about it because the world is not going to change for us. The other people out there aren't going to change. Our life situation may not change unless we do something about it. So if we're in a situation, in a job that we absolutely hate, do something about it. And what can you do? Either you can change your attitude or you can leave and see what God has in store for you. But we can do something about it. We are empowered by these teachings, by the knowledge that God is with us and is directing us. There's a beautiful story I read recently about this man who went to his garden and he found all these dandelions in his garden. And he did everything he could to keep those dandelions from coming out. He would pull them up, they'd come back again. He would find some very powerful Roundup or something, except he lived in India. I'm not sure he had Roundup, but some awful chemical, and they would still come back. And he would try to plant other plants nearby that he had heard would discourage the dandelions from growing, but it didn't. They grew. And finally he went to this sage in India, and he told him the whole story. And he said, I just don't know what to do. What should I do? And he thought for a minute, and he thought for a minute, and he said, I guess you're just going to love the dandelions. And isn't that true? It's like we have to accept what's in front of us. We have to accept that it is ours. I got an email from a friend of mine the other day and basically saying, why did I write this life plan for myself? It's awful. And went on to list all the things in her life that had been extremely difficult for her. But we did. And why did we make that life plan? Because there are certain things we need to grow, to get beyond, to embrace, so that we can go to the next step in our evolution towards God. And I love this image of a window. And it's like Master Yogananda said, I have this window of grace that I'm offering you. And if you go through that window, you will be transformed. Now, how many of us would say to God that's come to us now and told us we have this life situation forever, and he gives us an answer, how many of us would say, no, I don't want to be transformed. I don't really want to have you in my life. I don't want my consciousness to be that expanded. No, I don't think any of us would say that, but we say it every day, don't we, in the choices that we make. I don't want to do that. And we get a little cranky, and we all do it. But we know there's a window of grace. I saw this little quote the other day. If God puts... No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think I even wrote it down. I love it. Don't put a question mark where God has put a period. Isn't that wonderful? If you remember nothing else about today, take that with you. If you don't put that question mark there. If God has said something to you, if you know it deep within yourself, you can question. It's good to question. But when you know deeply, when it's everything, everybody, every situation, your meditations are saying it, go with it. Because the great masters say, even if that's going to take you into something that's uncomfortable, or maybe, as we term it, wrong, it will, if you stay with it, if you keep asking for guidance, it will lead you to the right thing. The worst thing we can do is not do anything. Not put out the energy to change, not put out the energy to find solutions, but just to stay where we are. A friend of mine quoted this saying to me: we live our lives, or we condition our lives by time circumstances. And what does that mean? It's what the reading said today. When will I find God? Everything's a condition of time. When will I find my soulmate? When will I find God? When will it stop raining? When? And we condition our life on that rather than say, this is what's here now, and embrace that. There's a story of a man who was, I believe, in some Eastern Asian country, and he was there at the time when there was a big cataclysm, a volcano. There's so many today in these days, it's hard to imagine. Hurricanes and tsunamis, and one of those really very hard, difficult situations in life. And a week went by, and finally food came. The town hadn't had food for a week, and people ran to the trucks, and they were grabbing the food and just grabbing, eating and just frantic. And this man had decided, when this horrible situation came and there was no food, that he would fast. Now, many of us have fasted, haven't we? Or maybe even a day or an hour, some of us. And it's not so bad. We set our mind to it. And then we can do it. It's like there's a grace that comes to support anything good that we determine in our lives. And he was never hungry, never panicked, never questioning. He made up his mind to embrace the good of the moment. And he won. And it's not that everybody's going to understand that, but the point is, find something when things go wrong that you can embrace and make into something positive. That's really all we can do. There's two ways of staying in the eternal now that I found the most helpful. One is meditation. Because when you are really, truly meditating, when your mind is lifted, as the Bible quote this morning says, when your eyes are lifted, that's where you are. You're not anywhere else. You're in the now. You are so expanded and joyful and calm, peace of mind. You're so peaceful that you don't want to get up. You don't want to go anywhere else. You're just in that now. It's perfect. So what we can do is try to be there more often. If we can't meditate all day and feel that, take that meditation into your life. Try to feel it in everything that comes to you and live in that now. The other time I've always found that to be true is when I'm serving other people, because then I'm not thinking about myself and whatever's going on with me. So I get out there and serve them, try to make them happy, try to make them see a different way of reality or facing reality. Those two things I found. You probably have things in your own life where you feel like you're just in that presence and the past is gone, the future is gone. I'm living right now. And I wanted to end with this beautiful story of St. Francis. And he, as you know, probably St. Francis lived, I believe, in the 1400s or 1100s. I always get that confused. But anyway, a very long time ago. And he didn't have anything except a robe that he wore and sometimes sandals and his Bible. And that's all he had. He had no food. He had no real belongings he had to worry about. And he was walking along one day and he saw an old woman. And she said, "Please, sir, can you give me some money? I am starving. I haven't eaten for a long, long time. Could you give me something?" And he thought, I have nothing to give this woman. And then he remembered his Bible. Now this Bible, you understand, was his only real possession that he had. He lived by this Bible. He read this Bible every day. He used it to train his disciples. But he knew that this woman needed it more than he. And so he gave her the Bible. And, "Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir." And off she went. And what he found by giving her that Bible, that he had a vision of Christ, of Jesus. And he said, "My words are now written on your heart." And from that moment on, whenever he needed a scripture phrase, maybe a little buck you up-o, solace, whatever it was written right on his heart. And that's what, I don't know, I found that in my own life. You give something you absolutely don't think you can give away. It doesn't have to be a possession. It can be a thought. It can be, a person where you're just saying, I need to give up this attachment to this person that's the most important person in my life. When you do that, you are showered with blessings. And you don't really have to give that up. But you had to give it up in your mind. You had to be rid of that attachment in order for God to take you through that window of grace. And so as we go through our life, let's try to live in the now. Try to accept what comes to us. And we'll be very, very blessed, because every moment will be a moment of joy. We don't have to wait till it comes to us. I want to read from Whispers from Eternity, Yogananda's prayers and poems. And This is a poem he wrote that is exactly what we're talking about today, living in the now and living in the highest consciousness we possibly can. It's called God, God, God. From the depths of slumber, as I ascend the spiral stairway of wakefulness, I will whisper, God, God, God. Thou art the food, and when I break my fast of nightly separation from thee, I will taste thee and mentally say, God, God, God. No matter where I go, the spotlight of my mind will ever keep turning on thee. And in the battle din of activity, my silent war cry will be, God, God, God. When boisterous storms of trials shriek, and when worries howl at me, I will drown their noises, loudly chanting, God, God, God. When my mind weaves dreams with threads of memories, then on that magic cloth will I emboss, God, God, God. Every night in time of deepest sleep, my peace dreams and calls joy, joy, joy. And my joy comes singing evermore, God, God, God. In waking, eating, working, dreaming, sleeping, serving, meditating, chanting, divinely loving, my soul will constantly hum, unheard by any, God,